Hello, everyone. Hi, and welcome to our product updates webinar. We will wait, if you don't mind, just another minute, just to give more time to more attendees to join us before we start. We'll start around 5:01, 5:02, more or less. All right, just for those of you who are already here, joined us. Well, this is a product update webinar. This is the second one we do this year, of course, and we'll be presenting our latest features and updates. So we'll wait just for a few other seconds before we can start. All right, I think we can start our webinar. Once again, let me first introduce myself. My name is Sukaina Jarmouni. I'm a project engineer and developer at Rated Power. And in this webinar, we're going to present to you our latest launches of PV design. We're going to, at the end, leave some time, about 20-25 minutes for a Q&A session in case you have any questions. So without further ado, I will start by presenting to you the features that we launched on April. And the very first one was the PV Collada file, which is basically, it's the name of the format of the file. This file will allow you to import our 3D layout from PV Design to PVsyst to do the 3D shading analysis. This is for us like a step forward or a step towards having our own tool maybe in the future. However, upon users' request, this is an alternative for users to do the 3D shading on PVsyst. And also this file will reduce the time or reduce the work that you can do or you would do on the shading scene on PVsyst. So we have our layout with all the objects. So we don't really have to add more objects to your shading scene. Just to show you quickly on PV Design, I will be switching between PV Design itself, between the software and our presentation, just to show you live the features. So this file, you will find it when you click on result simulation. You will find it in all documentation here as a zip file, PV Collada. And of course, for you to import it to PVsyst, we have prepared for you a tutorial that you can find in our knowledge base. So if you type PV Collada, you will find two different articles, one for the trackers and the other for the fixed structures, importation or scene. And it's very detailed, but if you have any problems or more questions regarding that, you can directly contact our customer success team. They will be happy to help you with that. The second feature that we launched on April was the advanced features in the KML and KMZ files. As most of you know, most of our users, KML or KMZ file or the site is the very first step on starting the design process on PV Design. And we have noticed that there was an error rate regarding the KML and KMZ because of some limitations that we had in the elements that that the software accepts for the site. So to reduce this error rate and and also reduce the time of the users between going back and forth between Google Earth and PV Design, we decided to give more flexibility. So now it is possible to have areas using multi-geometry elements, creating areas or available areas and other areas using the path elements as well. And we will, or this advanced feature allows you as well to have inner holes or inner rings inside the available areas. And also we have increased the number of restricted areas to 200 elements or area. So we think that this is it's going to be very useful to, as I said, to reduce the time on the external software or on Google Earth, and to have a smoother, flexible, more flexible PML file to import to your designs. The second or the next month is May. It was very active for us. We launched several features. The very first one, or the biggest one, was the design process 2.0, or what we call the layout in the middle. And this was basically a redesign of our design process, of the workflow of the whole input. So as you can see, we made sure that the layout is always visible to the user. You have all your input, your tabs, and several inputs that you can just switch on and modify, and directly see the results on your layout. Besides that, we have changed the position of some input to make it more smooth for users and give the user a better experience using the design process. I will probably show you that directly on the software. So if we clone the design, you'll be able to see, as I was saying, the layout here and the different inputs and tabs and sections as you used to have. Just an example of the position of the inputs, especially for our users who are present with us today. If you remember, we used to have here the albedo data and the horizon data in the location tab, but now we have moved them to the energy tab. Here you'll find the albedo and horizon because we think it makes more sense for the user. So this one is one example of the other changes that we did to the input. And for example, in the electrical tab here, or sorry, in the layout tab, in the power requirements, before for specific capacity, you used to introduce only the number of inverters and we give you the corresponding power. But now you have the possibility to introduce the power and we give you the corresponding inverters and other inputs. So we think that this redesign or this layout, having it always visible, will significantly reduce the time of the design, of the process of the design. So it was really an important launch for us and for our users. And following that, we have launched customized cables feature. So previously we had a few customization in the cables, but upon request of our users, we've decided to add more input to modify, such as the maximum number that you can have of cross sections per cable, per level of cable, the maximum circuit per polarity of phase, the type of the material, the type of the insulator, the core if it's single or multi. And also the ground temperature and the soil thermal resistivity. So of course, these inputs, you will find them on PV Design in the electrical tab and the cable sizing. And here you will find it, of course, for each level of the cables, for the NV and for the LV cables. And of course, for our users who prefer to do preliminary fast designs, you can automatically just select your electrical standard and we will do the automatic sizing for you. You don't really have to modify those inputs. And then after that, we have launched also thin film modules, which is a very, very important feature for our North Americans. It was requested highly from the USA. So this technology is now included in our database. We have several modules of first solar manufacturer of CdTe technology that you can find. But this doesn't mean that we only added the modules to our database, but also we have made the modifications in the energy and the electrical part to make it work. And so we have considered the thin film modules in the energy part by calculating the spectral correction and the recombination losses. And also to mention, besides having our modules in the database, you can always add your own CdTe modules to the database, to your private database. And from the electrical part, we were aware that to make electrically the thin film modules work, we needed to do a new or launch a new configuration, which is DC harness. It's a configuration that connects the cables, the string cables, to the LV collectors. And basically the DC harness is used not only for thin film modules, for all the types of modules, but it was initially developed for the thin film modules on PVdesign. So just to show you here in electrical and in solar field, you'll be able to find here the harness that you can enable or disable, and also you can choose the strings, the number of strings connected per harness. These numbers or these options will guarantee that the cable is straight, and also you can here define the maximum strings connected per box. As I said, the DC harness is also used for the other types of modules, so feel free to try it. And after that, we have also launched the setbacks. So now it is possible to modify different distances on the plant, distances regarding the power station, and others regarding the fences in the areas. So here, for example, we have the distance between the available area and the fence, the restricted area and the fence, the distance between the structures and the power station, between the power station and the road, and between the road and the structure. So all of these distances, you'll be able to modify them on PVdesign in layout. And here you have setbacks section. So let me just modify the power station to be outside in order to have the complete list of distances that you can modify. So here you can modify them, and of course we have the same image that illustrates the different distances directly on the software. Apart from that, we have also launched a new map service, Mapbox. So previously, as you might know, we used Google Maps in our layout or preview of the layout, and also in the result page. But now we have moved to Mapbox because this provider has a better performance than the one of Google Maps. And it's smooth for the user, and also I can show you that it gives other views of the map. You can switch to different views. And also, as I said, it's smooth, and most importantly, it would give us an opportunity, or it will open the door for us to add more features in the future using this provider. Then after that, we have launched a new MPPT configuration for East-West structures. So as most of you know, we have launched East-West structures a few months ago. And initially it was launched with two different MPPT configuration, the single MPPT inverter and multiple MPPT inverter. But now upon some users' requests, we have launched the separate inverters in which each table will be connected to a different inverter, as you can see in the picture. And of course, this configuration, you'll be able to find it in equipment when you select here the East-West structure. In inverter, you'll be able to find all the configuration, including the different inverters per table. Next, also, we have launched the last feature on May. It was the probabilistic yield estimation. This is also something that was highly requested from users in the past year. So now you'll be able to find the results in the energy report. You'll find the probability 50, 75, 90, 95, and 99. So all you have to do is to introduce the standard deviation, or what we call the sigma value, that gives us the uncertainties, and that you'll be able to find it in energy under simulation, and here you'll find the interannual variability. So all you need to do is introduce it, and the software will calculate all the probabilistics yield estimations that are mentioned in here in the slide. And then we can move to this month, June, in which we launched one of our biggest milestones, which is the basic engineering of the AC coupled battery energy storage system. And by basic engineering, we mean a sizing of the battery, plus a design report and the BOQ consideration, calculation of the BOQ. So I can show you directly this part as well on PV design. First, all we have to do to start or to enable this tab, which has to do with the batteries, all you have to do is to introduce a KML or KMZ file that has the area, this VA, it's the battery area, and inside of it you need to put an MV point, which is a connection point to the MV cables, of the MV cables. And once you upload it, you will be able to enable this tab. So I will go directly to a design that has the battery system. So as you can see here, I can show you directly, or even in the layout, in the preview, or in the details, just to show you the area that I was talking about, the BA area. And that's where the software will try to install as much as it can of batteries. So as you can see here, once we have the BESS tab enabled, let me zoom in. We will have several sections. The first one is the power conversion system. So first we will need to define the equipment and define our PCS. So you need to choose the storage inverter, which is generally a central inverter. Define the number of inverters you want per PCS. You will get the corresponding power. Then you need to define the battery container. So here you have two options. You can either go by container, or if you have information regarding the racks inside the container, you can also choose the racks. So here for the racks, you can choose the capacity per rack and also the number of racks per container. And if you go for the container, you can indirectly introduce the capacity of the container as a whole. Then we have the BESS requirements. So same as for the plant, we have maximum capacity and specific capacity. So for the maximum one, all you have to do is select it, and the software will try to install the maximum batteries. Let us refresh the layout. And by the way, when refreshing, you will get here all the information regarding the power of the plant, and also information regarding the supply of the battery, like the supply duration, the power of the battery system. You will have them updated in here. So as you can see here, for maximum capacity, we try to add as many batteries as possible. And if you choose specific capacity, you have to introduce the number of PCS that you want, and you will get the specific capacity requested. And finally, you can choose here the number of supply cycle or this supply cycle duration, the number of hours that you want. And it will be also displayed on the top bar. And finally, from the civil part, you have here the dimensions of the PCS and also the dimension of the container of the battery that you can modify from the software. And also we have two different distances that you can modify, which are the distance between consecutive blocks and the distance between opposite blocks. So once you run or you generate your design, you will, as I said, or as I mentioned, you will have a report of the batteries. As you can see here, a design report on PDF and also editable format. And also you will see the changes of the BOQ. You will have a sheet for the BESS in the bill of quantities. And also in the energy calculation, you'll have the losses included in the energy part. And then in the same month, we have also launched or added SolarAnywhere API. So with this API, now it's possible to integrate SolarAnywhere API key directly on PV design. So you have here on your PV design in the page My Company, and in the section integrations, you will have here first a link to our knowledge base that show you how to do it. But it is quite straightforward. All you need to do is to edit the API key, save it, and also you can check this box if you want to use SolarAnywhere whenever you create a new project. And then once you are in one of your projects, if we clone this one, for example, in the meteorological data, you'll be able to find here SolarAnywhere, and you can select it. And by the way, just to mention for your information, we do have a webinar on September regarding the importance of meteorological data in the design of PV plants. And we're going to have with us someone from Energy Clean Research, the people behind SolarAnywhere API. So hopefully you can join us. We'll be sending you also this information later on in case you are interested to join that webinar. Then related to the meteorological data, we still have two more features that we launched this month. The first one is NASA Power API. It was something that we had previously in PV Design, but it was removed, and now it's back to the software. So the NASA Power API now it's updated. It has a new temporal coverage from 2001 to 2020. And also the SIMIC comes with an albedo provider, albedo data provider. So even in the energy part, you will be able to find it to get the albedo data. And finally, PVGIS 5.2. We have just updated PVGIS provider to the latest version available that has now a bigger coverage. It's almost worldwide coverage. So for countries or projects that are in countries such as Australia, you will not have problem using PVGIS 5 or 5.2 now with the latest version. So with that, I would like to thank you for your attention. These were the launches of the last quarter. I hope and we hope as a team that we met your needs and expectations for our users and clients. And we hope that if you're not a user, that you would like to try our software and try these features. And also we're excited to share with you what's coming in the roadmap in the next quarter. So please stay tuned for that. And now we can move to the Q&A session. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the question box. And I will be taking them from there. Could you please show an example of the BESS design report? Yes, of course. Give me 1 second. And also after the webinar, we can contact you and share with you our documentation if requested. So if we go to this design with the BESS, let's download the design report so we can go through it quickly. So here, this is the table of the content, the site, the description of the site, the location, topography, the main equipment. Also regarding topography, earthworks cut and fill is performed in the area of the batteries as well. So here we have description of the main equipment and then the sizing of the BESS, the electrical configuration, the cabling, and also the civil work. So here, as you can see, we have an introduction of the project characteristics. You have an image of the layout. Here, details regarding the location, topography. Here, the equipment of the battery container, and details regarding the racks, and the storage inverter and its details, power transformer used, the PCS with its characteristics, and finally the sizing part with the electrical configuration, the cabling design, and finally the civil work with the trenches and the cables position. I hope that was useful. Let me see if I have any other questions. Do not hesitate to drop your questions in the box. And also, I just wanted to mention that all our developments are based on users' feedback. So it is very important to us to receive feedback to keep improving our product to meet your needs. I don't know if you have any other questions. If you want to see something else from the features that I just mentioned, maybe if you have any feedback of improvements, don't hesitate to share them with us. All right. I've seen a hand raise. If you want, you can drop the question here. Okay. Thank you, Mia, for your comment. Okay, another question. Can you upload your own equipment and use it on PVDesign? Yes, you can. You can directly upload it from this page, equipment, and you can upload the PAN files and the ONT files for the inverters, PAN files for the modules and the ONT files for the inverters directly. Another question, do you have the ability to configure the cycle of the batteries? Do you mean to modify the hours of the cycles? I'm not sure if I got your question right. If so, you can modify from here, from the requirements, you will have the cycle duration that you can modify from here. I hope I answered your question. Another question, how can I change the position of the substation? You can modify, if you mean by that change in the position of the equipment, it is unfortunately not possible to do that manually for the moment. But you can, if you want to just change the position of the whole substation, you can just change the polygon, the ST polygon in the KML and upload it again to the software. Do you have any plans to allow us to configure the routes of the internal roads rather than PVDesign auto-generating them? Thank you, Andrew, for your question. We have that in mind. We actually would like to have that as well as a feature. Currently, we have the shortcut feature, which you can add in your KML or KMZ file. You can create shortcut that we can consider when designing the roads. However, for the moment, it's not possible to configure or to manually add the routes, the internal roads, as you mentioned. Thank you, Hugo. Let's see if I have another question. Okay, do we have any other question? Let's see. Yes, going back to your question, Diego, regarding the cycles, you asked how many cycles per year. I don't think we do give this information, or do you, if you're able to set it as an input, but I will definitely comment this feedback to the responsible of the feature and to the team to see if that's going to be possible in the future. And by the way, we're planning to add more documentation to the BESS layer, to the battery system very soon. We're going to start by an SLB that we're going to implement soon. And also we're going to improve based on the feedback that we receive, such as the cycle, for example, the yearly cycle, we're going to improve the feature. Any other questions? Mohammed, yes, you asked if you can change the transformer, the transformer. I'm assuming from the middle. I'm assuming you mean the position of the transformer, of the PS, of the power station, from the middle of the plant. Currently, it's not possible to manually do these changes, but we have this in mind, and we will be working on it in the following quarters to have exactly this, to give more interaction, or to let the user interact more with the layout, introduce roads, move the power stations, and do manual modification. So we're going in this direction. So we're already thinking about it and investigating this, but currently, unfortunately, it's not possible to do it. Any other questions? You're welcome. Okay, let's see if we have any other questions from you. Thank you all for joining us today, and as I mentioned, we're really excited to share with you the upcoming features. Okay, I think we no longer have any other questions, so thank you again for joining, and please, if you have any questions or feedback, feel free to add them or to send them to us via support at rateedpower.com. It's a customer success support. Just email us your feedback, and we'll be happy to receive it and take it into consideration. Okay, so thank you very much. We can end our webinar here, and hopefully we'll see you in the next quarter or update, feature update for next quarter. Have a good evening.